The opinions expressed in the Brothers-in-Law show are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for personal professional legal advice.
Thanks for tuning in to Brothers-in-Law on Go Country 105. I'm Larry Mandel.
And I'm Rob Mandel.
And we've been trial attorneys here in Los Angeles for over 40 years.
On our show, we will discuss current events, talk about legal issues, and have some very entertaining guests stop by. So stay tuned every week for Brothers on Law right here on Go Country 105. Here we are, the Brothers on Law. I'm Rob Mandel.
And I'm Larry Mandel.
And we are very proud and happy to be back here talking to all of you out there on Go Country 105 FM. So, Larry, do you remember when we were kids and we grew up here in the San Fernando Valley, and our mom would drop us off on the corner of Sherman Way and Reseda, and there was an old movie theater there, and you could go into this theater for 50 cents and see a double feature, and we loved doing that. You remember that?
Yeah, 3 pieces of candy for 10 cents.
Right.
And I like the flicks. What else? What other candy did you like, Rob?
Oh, I don't know.
You're dating yourself, sir.
Yes, I am.
Flicks.
Hey, we have another voice there, Larry. Tell us what this other voice is.
That's a segue to our special guest today to help us expand on this even further. Not talking about candy, that is. Talking about movies.
Movies.
And that's Todd Curtis. He's an actor who was on The Young and Restless and in many movies like Out for Blood and Chain of Command.
2 of my favorites.
We were going to go over some of our top 5 legal movies with someone who has actually been in movies. What do you think about that, Rob?
I think it's great. Todd, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Wow, what a voice.
I didn't realize that I had, the movies have come and gone, but I have to say one thing about the setup here. It's fantastic. And your executive producers are special and talented
Aren't
people.
they hot?
Yeah, we love them.
I cannot believe
Cam and Meredith, not to drop any names.
Yeah, we don't want to drop names here at the law firm.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for having me in here, and I really appreciate it. I love this topic, and it's something that most of us. There's only a few roles in television, anyway, as you know. There's an attorney,
Right.
There's a doctor,
Sure.
okay, and then we have the cop, okay,
Right.
and then we have sitcoms. That's it.
Right.
Everything else is kind of mixed. Once in a while, they'll throw in a show with a couple of neighbors beating each other up or
Right,
something
right.
like that.
And some gangsters.
And you look like you could play any of those.
I have played all of them.
Yeah.
You could even play a gangster.
Yeah. How did you get into acting? Because we all know that's a very tough profession.
Wow, that's a great
to break
question.
into.
Well, I think it's like with anybody when they get growing up, and I grew up in Michigan area in Detroit, and we all had, we all had dreams growing up, and I was kind of involved in music and study and things like that. But I always had my eye on theater. I loved going to the theater. My parents were very open about it. We used to go to plays and have people over, and they'd be singing in the house and stuff like that. And as I got a little older, I thought, this could be something I'd really be interested in. So I did a couple of plays and so on. And then at one point, after I was just in the middle of college, I used to hang out with the theater people all the time. I was there, and we'd go to the shows and did a couple of operas, actually, couple of little roles in there.
Can you sing?
So you're a singer.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding? We love that. Fly me to the moon.
Yeah,
Sweet.
one of my favorites, too.
He just picked his favorite song right out of the blue.
There you go, sir. So you're dating yourself. Sir.
Yes,
Right,
I
of
am.
course.
So, it was one of those things where I wanted to come out to California and just put my toe in the water and see what happened.
Right.
And I got out here like anybody else. I didn't have any real direction. I didn't know anything, and this is, of course, a few years ago when, I drove around in a 1970 Cutlass with the floorboard rotted out, and no one cared.
Right, right.
You just kind of drove around. You got an acting class. You started meeting people. Everyone was very receptive. So you come to this thing or do this workshop or something like that, and you start meeting people, and you start to create your craft, and you do a couple of plays, and then next thing you know, you never know. Someone says, there's a part, or I have an agent I want you to meet.
Yeah.
And You meet them and they go, this kid could do something for us. Let's see what we can come up with, and the next thing you know, you audition and stuff like that. I love the soap operas. They were amazing. I did Young and the Restless and a show called Capital. Okay. So it was
what around what time are we talking about? What year?
Well, this was the 80s. This was the early 80s when soaps were actually at their peak,
right?
In terms of the ratings. They couldn't have been more popular back then. And it was a new show, and they hadn't put a new soap opera on for years.
Right.
And it came out, it had a lot of attention, and eventually it was taken off and replaced and so on as the soap started to change. But I absolutely loved that. The concept was amazing and different because they hired sort of young, little wet behind the ear actors like myself and others, and they surrounded us with very talented people that did films. Okay, so we had this contrast. So that's how I got my start, on the soaps, and ended up doing some films and things like that. And The Young and the Restless was after that, which I loved, So I was surrounded by a lot of talent, and you learn a lot. But the soaps were great for a couple of reasons. Number one, you got to work almost daily, which isn't the same for films and primetime television.
And most
How did you
shows
remember the lines if you're doing it
I didn't
daily?
Exactly. I didn't remember a thing, sir.
It's
kind of like our radio show, huh?
Line. But
No, not
aren't
at
they
all.
filmed live? I mean, I remember I had friends that were
Go ahead.
they were like background actors in soap operas, and
Right.
it was really hard
It
work.
was. Yeah.
It was tough.
And I loved it, though, because I'd go home at night and study, and I'd love to look at the stuff and really memorize it and work with the stuff. And here's the great part about soaps. You would do all these pages. Let's say you had 10 pages or something the next day, and they'd get there and they'd go, we're cutting half of it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
But you always had to think on your feet and stuff. I really enjoyed it. And I loved the medium. I loved to go in every day, and a lot of times there were different people. You had different scenes with people. You and I could be something. The next day I might be with the girls, and we're hanging out doing something. It was just so there's a lot of areas for creativity, different environments, stuff like that. And we used to film at CBS TV City, Fairfax and Beverly.
Nice.
Absolutely love that place.
Yeah.
When
Liberace lived across the street.
hello.
Yeah.
That's some good information.
Yeah. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Right.
The first day I went there, I remember the first day of the show, and my buddy drove me there and dropped me off. Okay, we had lived in a Burbank apartment or something, and drove me, and there wasn't any security. I walked right in. They go, oh, you're the new kid on the show. Go on in. Can you imagine?
Not like that today.
There's a 40-foot fence there, barbed wires, cameras, armed guards. Can you imagine? This is in the last 30, 40 years of what has happened to this town.
Oh,
So
I know.
that's
How
what's
long?
going
How
on.
long did you have the run with The Young and the Restless?
I did soaps for about 10 years. That's straight up. And then some films after that, Chain of Command and different stuff. And just had a ball, and I love it. So when you started talking about films that have to do with attorneys, this is an excellent topic, because there's always lawyers that are on the soaps. There's always a trial.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
Well, I'm
piques people's
binge
interest.
I'm binge watching a show right now
Okay.
called Suits. Have you heard
Oh
of
my
that
God,
show?
It's good, yeah.
It's so good, but it's kind of like a soap opera.
Yeah.
There's always a conflict.
Okay.
There's always a problem.
Yeah, sure.
There's a lot of melodrama,
Right.
and but it's all about these crazy lawyers,
Right.
that are in these conflicts, and it's something else.
This is what happens, and having these part of the soaps when you did everyone's life was in the balance. So you'd either be in the hospital, you'd either be dealing with an attorney, or someone was trying to take someone's company down.
Right.
Always a conflict. Have to have that conflict.
Look,
right?
the soaps are the basis of basically every drama.
Yeah.
As the World Turns started on the radio, this was like 60 years ago. That was this first soap opera was on the radio, and it was a 15-minute segment. Now they've turned into, back in the day, remember General Hospital and Young and the Restless and all that stuff. Just huge following. So it was a great time.
Who was it? Susan Luca?
No, Lucci.
Lucci.
Right.
Who
Susan
got
Lucci.
nominated over and over and over again. And I think she finally win an Emmy?
She did.
Oh,
She
good
did.
for
Darn
her.
it. God
Yeah.
bless her. She was on All My Children for
My
many
Children.
years. Huge star, very nice. We had done some appearances together. A lot of times the soaps, they would do these large venues where, they'd bring a few people from each show or something like that. Anyway, it was a great time.
Have you suffered or been injured by someone else's negligence? When you need a legal team that will stand up for what is right, won't give up the fight and obtain justice, call 818-886-6600. Mandel Trial Lawyers specializes in personal injury cases of all types. Whether it's a car accident, product or premises liability, dog bite, or a catastrophic injury, Mandel Trial Lawyers are there for you when the fight is worth it. Call now for your free consultation. 818-886-6600. Let the scales of justice tip in your favor.
So we're talking about movies with lawyers and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And Larry and I often talk about these. If you go into my brother's office, you'll see black and white photos from almost every memorable classic legal film that's been made. Mm-hmm. And we often talk about, well, what's your favorite one? What's your favorite one? Because it's very, very hard to pick. And so what I thought we'd do is just talk about our top 5.
Okay.
You know, if you can remember, which ones you really love.
Not to put you on the spot, Todd.
Right,
that's fine.
Because we're lawyers, we want to talk about lawyer movies.
I love the spot, and I want to be on it.
Yeah, and you're here. That's what we want.
What's your list? I mean, starting with, what's your least favorite out of that 5? Would you think?
Well, okay. So if I were to start at number 5,
okay.
God, I'm going to go back now. I'm going to say number 5, and of course, this is out of many, many movies.
Go ahead.
There's so many to choose from that are wonderful. But I'm going to go number 5, Inherit the Wind.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
So you're starting heavyweight, but it's still number 5.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Not as popular nowadays, but it was an incredible with Spencer Tracy.
Yeah.
Frederick March, Spencer Tracy, based on the true story of the Scopes monkey trial in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And it's set in the South. It's set, I want to say, in some fictional town.
Sure.
And it's funny how they made it fictional. So probably when the author wrote the play or wrote the movie, the screenplay, there was something where he had to do it more fictional, or he just wanted to,
I don't know, Rob. You're speculating.
Yeah.
Objection, speculation.
Yeah.
Objection, sir.
Yeah.
But Todd, what
would be number 5
No, this
for
is
you?
great. When you first brought this up, now, my experience with this, or when I watch films, or just being around attorneys, or watching it in soaps and so on, I think there's a whole spectrum of the possibilities here.
Okay.
We have the lawyer it's humorous and tragic.
Right.
Right. So we have that whole scope there. And I think about films, I think that they all sort of have a bit of each in it. If I was going to think about a movie that would have an ideal set of attorney experiences, I'm thinking of My Cousin Vinny.
Okay, so that'd be number 5
That'd
for
be
you?
number 5.
Okay.
So, now,
I'd probably go a little higher on the list for that
Me
one.
too.
Yeah.
No, that's number 5.
Okay.
I'm just thinking of, but.
And why?
Well.
Why is it among the top 5?
Well, I think it's a perfect rendition of the humor involved in the whole court dramas and everything else. I mean, with Pesci and Marissa Tomei, who, by the way, was on As the World Turned. She did daytime television back in the day. Ended up doing very well for herself.
Yeah.
But the movie's just so much fun. You have The Karate Kid is one of the Ralph Macchio.
Right.
And one of my favorite actors, Fred Gwynn, plays the judge.
Herman Munster in the Munsters, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. What's a ute?
Yeah.
Ute. Oh, excuse me. Ute.
All right, my number 5 is... this is tough because Todd has touched on something where it's, comedy versus drama, but in some of the older movies I haven't seen in a while, so I'm going to go more to a more modern movie like A Few Good Men.
There you go.
With Tom Cruise,
That's a good choice.
Jack Nicholson. You can't handle the truth, Rob.
That's right. Yeah, that's an excellent movie. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I need to put Inherit the Wind a little higher up the list because A Few Good Men is good, but it's not as good as Inherit the Wind.
Well, and we're talking about different times of making these films, and I think it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Inherit the Wind, A Few Good Men, that was so popular back then. It was the height of Cruise's career, and Rob Reiner was an amazing director at that time.
That's true.
Jack Nicholson, there was no bigger star in the world. So I mean, at the time, you're like, "Wow, this is what a combination of stuff."
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
And Demi Moore was in that movie, wasn't she?
Yeah, and when Nicholson's on the stand, I mean, it's so powerful.
It's incredible.
That cross-examination, it's just
But I love it because it's a military based, and I mean, it gives you, again, these are different perspectives.
Right.
You've got, My Comments of Vinny, we've got Inherit to Win, we've got A Few Good Men. They're all different kind of arenas.
You're so true.
Stay connected with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and of course, brothersonlaw.com.
So what do you think, number 4?
Well, for me, I got to throw in Cane Mutiny.
Wow.
In the list.
The heavyweight, man.
Okay.
You're just
Yeah,
going
you're
for the
a
heavy
heavyweight
stuff.
Going for the
Look at
heavyweights,
you.
man. Yeah. And it's just it's one of my favorite performances by Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah.
Where he was very versatile. People, often associate him with like this kind of a gangsterish personality, but like you see, not necessarily a gangster in Casablanca, but he's a ruffian and a rougher character.
Gotcha.
But he was extremely versatile, and he plays this neurotic, paranoid ship captain that drives her. He's got the. I'm doing this with my hand because he had the metal balls. I don't know what they call those things,
Sure.
but they were his nervousness thing, and he would have those things, and he'd be rolling them in his hand while he was
All right,
under
Rob, let's
stress.
get off the metal ball.
Yeah. I'm a man with
neurotic
metal
ship
balls.
captain.
How about you?
Number 4.
No,
Look, I'm
Todd.
staying in that same area.
You're the mediator here,
Hey, look,
Todd.
Yeah, come on, Todd. What's number 4 for you?
One of my favorite lawyer movies of all time is Legally Blonde. You know that
Okay.
movie?
Oh,
You
yeah.
like the lighthearted
I
ones.
love it.
Yeah.
She was fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, this gal, it's so hysterical when she sends her videotape in to get into Harvard. Right. And here's the guys, they're sitting around the administration, they're looking at this tape, their jaws are open, and she's she goes, look, I know the law, and she's walking in the tightest dress that anybody's ever seen.
Yeah.
And some guy skateboards behind her and whistles at her, and she goes, I object. It was classic.
That is classic.
So they all look at her, they look at each other and they go, welcome to Harvard. So that was a brilliant movie, and the way it ended, and I just loved it. That to me takes, again, a piece of this whole concept and puts it into a whole nother thing. And I think Reese was amazing in that. So that's my number 4 pick. How about you?
And that's not on my list, but when I hear that, it was a feel-good movie. And it was like, all right, the little guy prevailed, she prevailed. And against all those odds, which is really something that kind of segues to the movie that is my number 4 is The Verdict with Paul Newman.
Oh, that's
He's
heavy.
the guy who's
Yeah.
down and out. He's a down and out lawyer. He's an alcoholic.
Right.
He's got this client where he's representing where there's
Verdict.
I think is a person dead or the person's a vegetable. Yeah. But anyway, he sues a doctor for malpractice, and it goes through that whole development of how the doctor hid the information, and then a nurse comes forward and testifies that they had changed the record. And Rob, we had a case like that, but I don't know if we can get into that. But we had a case
Take it easy.
No, we don't want to get into that just yet. No.
Number 3, Rob.
All right. You guys are picking on me. I gotta go
ahead. No,
first
Rob, we
every
love
time.
you. Keep going.
All right. So I'm going to say Anatomy of a Murder is number 3.
That's good.
Okay.
That's
and
good.
and my main reason, 2 words, Lee Remick.
There you go. My gosh.
Okay.
She was a stunner, wasn't she?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
One
See,
of the most beautiful women ever.
that was incredible. No, I
And-
agree with you.
yeah.
That was a great choice.
How about you, Todd?
And
We cut you off, Rob?
well, I was just going to say.
I want to talk about
and the
Lee Remick.
subject
Go
matter.
ahead.
Yeah, I would like to talk about it. But the subject matter was extremely controversial. We're talking about the early '60s,
Yeah.
and it was all about whether she was raped or did she,
Right.
have an adulterous affair. And there was this, innuendo that she was claiming rape because she didn't want to be branded as
Right.
an adulteress.
Right.
And it was a very saucy, fiery film, and there was some very poignant and just intense cross-examination on the stand. It was very inspiring and dark, kind of a dark film.
Well, this is
really.
it. This is the layers again we're talking about. Going a little closer to that kind of an angle, one of my favorite movies with Harrison Ford was Presumed Innocent.
Oh, yeah.
Now that is a perfect attorney movie,
Right.
to me, and he's a prosecutor.
Yes.
But the cast they had with Dennehy, the whole thing was just unbelievable. And of course, he's accused of killing this woman he had an affair with. It had all the food groups in it. You know, the affair, the family, the corruption, the hiding evidence, mistrials, a judge that was corrupt. You know, it was just fantastic. And I just loved the way it was shot. And Harrison Ford was fantastic. That's, again, when he was really at the top of his game. Not that he's not excellent all the time.
Right.
But it was a great venue for him because he usually did the Indiana Jones stuff and everything was kind of action-based.
And this had a little more meat to it.
Yep. Perfect for him.
Yeah.
Played it beautifully.
Yeah, that was a good film.
And Bonnie Bedelia was his wife, and she was spectacular. Of course, she ended up doing the murder. And you didn't know until the very end.
Right.
Where he's like,
So now you guys all know the ending.
Spoiler alert.
Go ahead, sir. Well,
It's only been 30 years since this movie came out.
doesn't matter.
And he goes out to fix the fence. You know, don't be fixing the fence today.
Yeah.
And he pulls out the old hammer, and boom, there's the blood and the hair, and the thing was great.
All right.
So
Number 3.
Number 3, 12 Angry Men.
Well, there it is.
And that's just unbelievable where there's interaction in the jury room. And we see how one person can sway the others, you know, and show how the evidence is contrary to what they think. And it goes into the dynamics of the personalities. Okay, Rob.
That'd be my
2.
number 2.
All right. So you can elaborate on
Okay.
that.
So,
Well, no, let's move on because we want to talk about.
we're never. Oh, wait, 2?
What's your number 2?
Number 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're getting into the meat and potatoes.
All
There you go. I like that.
Here's my 2 favorite attorney movies.
All right, well, just do number 2. We want to save the best for last here.
Okay. Body Heat.
Oh, man, I forgot about that.
Another
my God,
good
you
one.
guys, I'm ashamed you forgot.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that is.
Ned Racine, William Hurt plays a not very good attorney in South Florida and ends up, oh my God, he commits a murder and the whole thing's fantastic.
Yes.
This is the perfect 80s movie. It's perfect
And it was
incredibly hot.
the vamp
Kathleen Turner was just over the
Kathleen
top.
Turner.
I mean, this woman was just, he throws the chairs through the window to get to her. Hello.
Yeah.
And
The deception.
Look at Todd, the actor, how he remembers.
I loved
He
it.
probably remembers every scene in all
He's
these
taking
movies.
us back there.
Oh my God.
All right, so my number 2 is To Kill a Mockingbird.
There you go.
Number 2?
Another heavyweight.
Yeah.
Another
All
heavyweight
right.
movie.
And Rob, we're going to go
Wait.
to your number. To Kill a Mockingbird with Atticus Finch, Henry Fonda. I'm sorry, Gregory Peck. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Don't confuse Henry Fonda and Gregory Peck.
No, he's
please.
in 12 Angry Men.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Rob.
I guess you can't confuse
Well,
them.
the
number 1 movie
Number
of all
one
time.
for
Sir.
me. Drum roll. To Kill a Mockingbird. Sorry, Larry. Not my number 2. That's my
Who
number
was the
1,
major
brother.
star in that? Gregory
Yeah.
Peck.
Bless you.
You,
Yeah.
you pulled the rug
Gregory
out
Peck.
from
You can't-
under me
you can't
there.
beat it. You
Yeah.
can't beat it.
No. I mean, there's so many memorable moments in that movie, but the one that always sticks out in my mind
Go ahead.
is when the bad guy who apparently is molesting his own daughter, and that's how this whole accusation
Oh, my
against
God.
the guy on trial is all about. But when he's shouting he's got basically his KKK brothers behind him, and he's shouting at Gregory Peck, and then he spits in his face, and Gregory Peck Finch doesn't flinch.
Look at
And
you.
he
Hashtag.
You know what I'm saying? And he just slowly takes out a handkerchief and wipes it away.
Right.
And his eyes never leave the other actor.
It's a perfect
the other
attorney.
guy. What? Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Just cool.
That was a great film. How about you, sir? Number 1 film.
Number 1, see, you mentioned it earlier. My Cousin Vinny. I'm going with My Cousin Vinny.
That's it,
Has
man.
So
High
many,
five me. That's
so
great.
many elements.
See? Mine
It's
was
so true.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
proud of you, sir, to
Yeah,
jump up
yeah.
on that
Thank you.
list.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Right. And for
your
you,
number
number
one?
one?
My number 1 film of all time, A Man for All Seasons. That was spectacular.
And that
16th
is- and that
century
is a
took
legal
place.
film.
The whole thing
Yeah.
is about the trial of treason.
Right. Sir Thomas More.
To Thomas More,
Yeah.
that's correct. The acting was spectacular.
Spectacular.
Unbelievable.
Well, he won the best actor award.
play.
Paul Schofield.
Susanna York in this, she was spectacular.
Yeah.
This movie was fantastic.
And,
And it had all the elements. And I'm not going to tell you how it ends like I did with the other
Yeah,
ones.
well, I remember how it ends.
Go ahead, sir.
It's historical. It's history. But
is history.
Henry VIII was played by a Welsh actor. I'm trying to remember his name. Not Richard Burton and not Richard Harris. Do you remember?
I'm going to give you one more guess.
So you know the answer, Todd.
Robert Shaw.
Robert
Oh,
Shaw.
he's fantastic.
you, sir.
Wait,
Irish
that's
then, not
Josh.
Welsh.
Is that Josh?
Yes, the one who sings.
He's at the end.
shark. Yeah.
I think you're going to need a bigger boat.
Right.
I think you're going to need a bigger boat.
We have been friends now, sir,
Yeah.
and that is true.
Yeah.
But cross me off your list. What I saw a moment ago,
Yes.
I tell you flatly, our ways must part. I wish no place in a dishonest heart.
Nice.
Very good,
Awesome. Todd. Hey,
He's
man,
a pro,
thank
man.
you.
We're Larry and Rob Mandel, the brothers-in-law, here on Go Country 105. Do you have a legal issue you need help with? We want to hear from you.
Find us on Instagram and send us a message. Then tune in on Saturdays at 8 a.m. right here on Go Country 105. Thank you again for coming, but I want to go to our tip of the day.
Wow, what is
Right?
that? Is that like a
we have-
feature?
we have a tip of the
Okay.
day. I'm going to read it. Some of us love to have a drink after work or enjoy a beer on game day.
Is that an adult beverage, sir?
Yeah, a beer is an adult beverage, yes, sir. We just want everyone to know, however, that legal drinking limit in California, when you're going to drive anyway, is 0.08%. And the general rule of thumb is that it takes 3 drinks an hour for women, 4 for men to reach this level. And a DUI, that is driving under the influence citation or arrest, is so costly and can really actually ruin someone's life. So please enjoy yourself out there with your adult beverages, but drink responsibly.
That's very good advice,
And
sir.
never, ever drink and...
Drive.
Okay.
God bless
Right.
you
Yeah,
guys.
and that brings us to Did You Know?
All right.
And this is the DUI deterrence. It's passed in 2016. It's introduced by Senator Jerry Hill. And it expands a pilot program that mandates ignition interlock devices, the breathalyzer, to start the vehicle for severe or repeat drunk driving convictions from 4 counties to statewide. The cost of this device will be about $3 a day, and the convicted driver will be responsible for this fee for 12 to 48 months. Another reason why not to get a drunk driving
All
conviction.
adds up.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Call
That's
Uber or
overwhelming.
Lyft.
There you go.
All right. So,
Well,
yeah, weigh in, Todd.
I'm
Weigh in.
just saying both those things are good pieces of information.
Yes.
I just want to
They
thank
got
you
nothing to
guys.
do with acting.
I mean, I'd like to sit here all day and just talk about movies on
Oh,
every
we could
level.
have you too,
I
man.
want
You
to
guys are
have him
amazing.
back again, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, God bless. Thank you guys so much for having me here. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Our
And-
pleasure.
Yeah.
Our pleasure. We're. Oh. By the way, though, before we say goodbye,
Go
Todd,
ahead.
we got somebody who's writing in,
Now it's time to check the Mandel message box.
Danielle.
Okay.
And she has a family member that takes care of her mother. Her elderly mother in Georgia, and she doesn't think that her mom's being treated well by this person. She believes she's stealing from her, and she says, "My mom covers for her and says I'm being paranoid. If I can get proof, can I sue her? Is it worth it? She's stealing her jewelry, by the way." Wow, what do you think, Larry?
Yeah. I mean, it's theft. What do you think, Rob?
Well, I want to know what you think because
I just told you, dude.
I just said the whole thing. So, I think you should always go after someone who's stealing. But is it worth it? It just depends on how much they're stealing, I guess, right? Because the legal process can be daunting and it can be tough. What would you do if that was your mom?
If that was my mother,
Yeah.
I'd drive the car right to the house. I'd
Yeah.
take care of this pair of business.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm from Detroit, young.
Yeah.
that's-
But I think they could do that down in Georgia too. But we never.
No, we never
Yeah,
want that to happen
No,
to
not
anybody.
really.
Anybody that.
All right.
Well,
Okay.
I think we've had enough fun for the day, and
Really?
I want to thank our guest, Todd Curtis.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you here, Todd, and so thank you again.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right,
All right,
and catch
so-
us next week right here on Go Country 105. And just remember, let the scales of justice tip in your favor.
The opinions expressed in the Brothers-in-Law show are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for personal professional legal advice.